We all know the internet myth of the honey badger. They're supposed to be indestructible, fearless, and immune to basically everything. But the reality starts in a stolen dirt burrow, where you arrive blind, bald, crying, and entirely defenseless. That legendary attitude does not come standard at birth. Transforming from a helpless cub into an apex scavenger requires a brutal trial-by-fire education on the savanna. The curriculum begins in the first few months. The mother badger has zero time for soft parenting. She drags her cub along on daily foraging routes, fully expecting the kid to keep up and figure the world out on the fly. Take the first major lesson, the beehive. The mother marches up to a wild hive and rips it open, taking hundreds of bee stings directly to her face and paws without a single flinch. She endures the swarm because she knows high-calorie honey and bee larvae are waiting inside. Then she steps back and lets the cub try. The kid takes one swipe at the hive, gets stung right on the nose, and immediately falls over yelping. It scrambles away in pure panic, while mom keeps right on eating. Eventually, the crying stops. The cub learns the foundational rule of honey badger survival. Enduring temporary physical pain is the mandatory, non-negotiable price for long-term calories. By the 6th month mark, the cub starts venturing out to hunt alone. These early attempts are completely devoid of any innate predatory grace. They are awkward, clumsy, and full of bumbling mistakes. Target a fast-moving scorpion, and you get stung on the paw. Pick a fight with a porcupine, and you spend the next 3 days limping through the brush. These physical consequences are how the young badger maps out exactly which prey is actually worth the effort. Around 1 year of age, the safety net disappears completely. The mother simply walks away, leaving the adolescent standing alone in the savanna to face true independence. This diagram shows how the badger survives a lethal cobra bite. Specific mutations in its bloodstream intercept and bind to neurotoxin molecules, neutralizing the venom before it shuts down the nervous system. The badger essentially passes out, letting its immune system sleep off the toxins. A couple of hours later, it shakes off the grogginess, stands up, and consumes the very snake that bit it. Surviving independently on the savanna means biologically converting lethal environmental threats into routine protein sources. At 2 to 3 years old, the badger hits full physical maturity. With venom immunity already mastered, its primary survival tool shifts to sheer psychological warfare. This chart shows the severe physical disadvantage the adult honey badger operates under. You have a 30-pound scavenger staring down a 150-pound leopard, or standing its ground against a 400-pound lion. When a badger approaches a leopard guarding a fresh kill, the strategy is brilliantly simple. The badger knows it can't physically overpower the big cat. Instead, it aims to make the interaction unbearably annoying. The badger lunges forward, dodges the lethal claws, and charges its face. Faced with relentless, reckless aggression, the larger predator runs a quick mental risk assessment and usually decides to retreat. This manufactured hassle factor works across the board. It forces heavyweights to abandon fresh carcasses, and it bullies older badgers or territorial jackals right off prime patches of land. The honey badger's legendary dominance relies heavily on an economic strategy. By projecting extreme audacity, the badger bankrupts a larger predator's energy budget and wins by attrition. Around age 5, the frantic, chaotic brawling of youth gives way to a highly efficient, predictable daily routine. The adult badger stops picking fights. It conserves energy, selectively targeting high-yield, low-risk prey. A fat rabbit, a slow bird, or an unguarded snake's nest provides maximum calories for minimum physical effort. By 8 or 9 years of age, physical decline naturally sets in. The joints ache from a lifetime of combat, prompting the veteran badger to avoid confrontations with younger, hot-headed rivals looking to prove themselves. The end is surprisingly peaceful. After years of scraping out survival through sheer aggression, the old badger simply finds a cool spot in the deep shade of an acacia tree, curls up, and goes to sleep. There is no lasting dynasty left behind. The badger merely vacates its territory so that somewhere else, a tiny, blind cub can begin the exact same brutal curriculum. Other animals do not yield to the honey badger because of biological destiny. They yield because, through painful lessons, the honey badger simply decides to be unstoppable.